I was in middle school, and when they gave me the medication, I kind of already felt like this was just it's weird that I have to go in. Like, I was also going in for like allergy shots. Like, I would go in maybe like once a year, and they'd stick me with all these needles trying to get my body to react to all the things. And then once it had a reaction, oh, that means you're allergic to that thing. You know what I mean? And I I was going through all that with the asthma and allergy stuff, and then all of a sudden I was told, "Hey, your neck's, it's growing to, the size of a melon. What's going on here?" And really, I know now personally that it had a lot to do with not speaking up and not saying anything. But at the time, I didn't understand that. I just knew that I started on this medication and it made me feel worse than I already was. I didn't feel bad or anything before I started taking it. So it got to a point where I would put it in my tongue, and then I would spit it out in the toilet.
Could be the other side as well. The other side of the coin, which is maybe both of the souls have agreed, so that soul gave an opportunity for the other soul to make a decision about something, and depending on that decision, they will have this experience or that experience.
They're there to teach a lesson, type of thing.
Yeah, and maybe you're going to have this reality where you finally decide the baby will stay, or the reality where it's the opposite of that, and that leads you to maybe feel guilt or certain emotions you're going to go through because you have asked that soul, can you play that role? And they've agreed, yes, I will play that role.
And I've seen instances where people had that play out, and then that it's completely changed them after. They're not on the same trajectory after that.
No.
It literally changes your experience.
So
depends on what your decision will be.
So yeah, I can see why you said that.
Yeah,
I can definitely see why you said that.
I had this realization in real life, and this wasn't an OBE. This was just an experience I had, and this was pretty recent too. I don't remember who I was talking to, but I was having a conversation with somebody, and I got really emotional all of a sudden. And for some reason, I just felt called to putting this donut in my mouth. And as I was trying to eat the donut, I couldn't swallow it. And I just felt like this rush of, I started crying. I started gagging, gasping, trying to spit it up. And I'm sitting there realizing, was I just trying to stuff my feelings down? You don't realize it. I've never had that visceral reaction before eating food, where I almost my body was just finally just rejecting it. You can't do this anymore.
I was going to mention something, and it's really good, actually great you bring that up. However, the expressions of a relationship, I don't know nobody that says, I want shitty relationship. No one. Because the highest form, I'm going to give it a little definition, yeah? The highest form of relationship, the highest expression, relationships serve as mirrors of growth, remembrance, learning, and love, revealing alignment, boundaries, harmony, or imbalance, so consciousness may evolve. So literally, which is the case for most people, you're striving to get the highest form of relationship in your life, period, even with yourself, momentary pleasure will not do. It cannot do. Feeling worse about yourself, it's mean that it's an addiction you have, therefore it doesn't serve you. And I think we can all agree on that. Which means when people present you how you feel about certain things, stuff like that, the only thing is to remember it's what you actually desire. Because all the rest is a coping mechanism. And it's always been a coping mechanism anyway. People throw themselves into sex because they don't feel love enough. They haven't had this enough of a loving experience. We all know that. Or the suppression of your feelings through food. There is some things as well where, like Shem said, they're using these aspects in order to manipulate and control you. And they are our reflection as well. So it's ultimately going to have to be through love that we can come out of that situation anyways. But I think redefining what you desire in terms of relationship is really important. And you realize you'll come to conclusion very quickly that everyone wants to be loved, but you also want to love yourself. You don't just sit here and say, I don't want to love myself. No one says that. So it's just that the belief that momentary pleasure will do, as we all awaken now, it won't do. Specifically, it's just not enough. That cannot do. So I'm saying that to say another thing that Cash was explaining, how to have discernment in terms of what your relationship on the other side are. When it's a loving relationship you have, it doesn't have to be romantic with someone. You feel it in your heart space. You do. You don't feel it down there.
And he said, if you do feel it down there, it's like it came in from the top. It's like you feel a rush all the way down. Like it's just like
it's
strike.
not. Yeah,
like it's like a strike that passes all the way through your vessel.
Almost kind of sounds like Kundalini.
Yeah. Will straighten you out. You're like, okay, I'm very much here.
Yeah.
Like it's like your soul doesn't want to miss a thing. That type of thing. It's very much that.
So I'm saying that to say that basically when you struggle with these type of things, the essential things, yes, energy clearing will definitely help. Certain things you can tell yourself, but also to remember, you are more than just something or someone or an entity that just want temporary pleasure. And that's why when you become and you want experience through experience, and I give you just an example. I started saying to myself about, I love coffee, and a lot of people say, no, coffee is not good for you, whatever they say. That don't even matter. I decided I'd rather have it less, but higher quality, because to me, it's like loving myself enough to deserve a beautiful experience about something I truly love and then bring me a lot of joy. But and it's not temporary joy, it's an whole experience. Sometimes just smelling the coffee beans, it's just enough for me. It just doesn't have to be, it's not focused on one particular thing. And unless this is take place, that's it. That would not satisfy me. Just the drinking of the coffee, it's not just it.
Well, it's like the point is you found your why for why you're doing it. If there's not a reason, that's completely different. But when you love something enough that it becomes a part of who you are and what you do, like if it's just simply having a cup of coffee, like that's so true. I feel that, Amandi. I wish.
Because that's the mold. You see, it's coming out of the mold, the ideas of the mold. Yeah. It's like, just knock one off, just to the sake of knocking one off. Oh, I need to release. This is that. Are you sure that's the experience you truly, really want? See it, zoom out, see it on a broader perspective.
It's like the guy, it's like the food critic from Ratatouille.
Exactly. Yep.
When he realizes like why he became a food critic in the first place, just from eating that little, they could have made anything for him. They could have made some extravagant, like stuffed turkey or, something really fancy, but they made Ratatouille. And it brought him back to that place.
And the whole point of the experience is like the donut experience you're saying. Do you want just to stuff a donut down your throat, or do you want a full-on blown, actual, meaningful experience around that donut? And do you have the energy to do it for that donut? Or perhaps that is just not enough. The donut is not enough.
You have to make it the best for you. And striving for that makes you be more choosy. It makes you be more select. And you're like, nope, only the best will do for me. And if that's the case, and say there was it's like I realized very quickly, I'm not as much as a sweet tooth as I thought I was. That's what my whole weight issue was with me. Like, what does Shem actually like? Like, what can I sit there and actually enjoy? And I very much realized I enjoy not only the being around the cooking of food, it's the conversation I have with the food as I cook it, the humming, the playing the music, the people coming in and talking to me. So I was like, oh, I don't want just the end result. I want the whole experience. And once I realized I want the whole experience and I saw how much energy that took for me to do, I no longer required that end bit so much. If I couldn't have it in its entirety, it suddenly didn't make sense to me to have it as much unless I had the full 360. And then it wasn't about my weight anymore. It was about me searching for the whole experience and looking at it holistically. And then I stopped drinking. And do you know how it started, John? I stopped drinking my teas when they were lukewarm. Like if I made a tea for myself and I put biscuits there, I used to be like, cold or hot, I would just dunk the biscuit and eat. And then I'd just be like, okay. And then I'd maybe throw away half the tea. And I was like, no. It's not that I love biscuits. I love tea and biscuits. It's a whole ritual now. I make myself the tea. I get loose leaf tea. I hum in my tea. I make my biscuits. Sometimes my kids make my biscuits with me. I prefer the biscuits made. And they're sugar biscuits, full butter. I didn't slack on the butter. I'm not trying to make it healthy. I don't give a fuck about that. I want the whole thing. And if I don't get it like that, I don't fucking want it. That's what made me naturally just not even lose weight, but care about whether or how heavy I ever was.
Like almost not settling for a mediocre experience.
And why should the fuck I? When I've been in bed bound before and said, am I going to get up or am I going to die and leave my kids to be raised by some fucking basic bitch? Like, what's going to happen?
They deserve a better experience than that.
I deserve a better experience than that. And that's really what I'm searching for. And I was like, oh, that's all I was searching for.
This is what Awaken to Joy is about. And
you awaken to that. And it doesn't have to be extravagant at the beginning. So now if my tea gets anything less than what I want, I throw it all out. I'll only have the tea as I want. I will not go to a shop and be served something I don't like and just sit there and eat it.
No,
If I don't like it, I won't eat it. I'll go without. And I'll wait until it's the way I want, how I want, exactly the way I want. Because if this is my last meal here, well, it better be fucking nice. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah. You can no longer...
After the shit I've been through,
absolutely.
It better be fucking nice. Even if it's cheap, I don't care if it's fish and chips. It's not the price. Right. It's not that. It's the quality of experience I choose to give myself. That's it. Like,
you can no longer satisfy yourself with the things you pick along the way just because they were there in a time of need. And because you had nothing else at the time, you're trying to compensate just because someone else was doing it, it became all right to do. It's just zoom out and see the greater picture, the bigger perspective. And that's all it is about.
And that goes for everything. Like, would I have ever had a boyfriend or cared to have a boyfriend at a certain age if everyone wasn't doing it at school? Would I have cared to drive a car at a certain age if everyone wasn't doing it and said, this is important? You're like, why haven't you got your driver's license yet? I was like, oh gosh, I must get my... Do you know what the fuck I want? I want a driver. I want a fucking driver. Yeah. I want a driver who I could sit in the back of the car and I could be warm and come rain, come shine. I would pay him whatever. I'll pay him handsomely or her. I don't give a shit. And I would love to be driven. But I only got to that like at 30 odd, like, yo, I had to be in a car accident to realize that. What? What? Oh, but I need it because I need to be independent and I need everyone else's interpretation of what good is, not what I like, not what I prefer. And that, once you tap into John, what John wants, what John likes, and how he likes it from top to bottom, and do not miss one fucking thing out on that list. Do not deprive yourself of one step in what that looks like. Shit starts shaping up.
About nutrition, what have you found out? Because obviously, it's you say you've been having challenges when it comes to that. What did you find out you personally? What was your actual experience, and what did you draw out of that experience? Even though it's sometimes not so desirable, it doesn't mean you don't learn anything. And what would be your advice for someone who's going through something similar?
This is what, like, going through like an inability to put like food down and stuff.
Yeah, and the idea behind nutrition.
You just gotta ask why. You just gotta ask why. Why am I eating this here right now? Why did I open up this package to start eating this thing that I'm putting in my body that I know is gonna make me feel sick later on? I'm gonna be on the toilet for like 2 days. It's in a package. Why am I eating it? What's in it? Why?
Questions.
Yeah.
I never asked. It got to a point where I like, essentially I'm just settling for pretty much anything that gets me that quick fix. I'm just settling for it because it fills my tummy up and I can go back and lay down in my bed and I'm good. And I never asked why.
In your opinion, what got you there then for you?
That's the one that I'm still struggling with, that question. Because having this conversation with you has kind of actually brought some new perspective that I never thought about before, about how tied emotionally it is to what I've experienced and what I'm experiencing now. What got me to that place? Because it started young. I was really, and here's the thing too, like, I always thought of myself as being really big. I've always had a perspective too. So like, I'm really big, so it doesn't matter. Doesn't matter what I put in. Like, it wasn't coming from a place of loving myself. And I look back at pictures. I'm actually bigger now than I ever have been.
So when you were telling yourself you were big, now you know you weren't even that big.
Why was I that worried about it? Why?
You're bringing up something very interesting, like this looping. We get into this pattern that we tend to find ourselves in.
Thing. It's tied to a whole bunch of different things all at the same time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Sometimes it's the easiest thing to do. It's the quickest way to ease, if you see what I mean.
Yeah.
Pop this. It's that thing that takes the least effort sometimes, especially if you just pop it out the packet, pop it in my mouth, eat it, go back about doing what I was doing. Especially when life feels like it's attacking you from everywhere. Like you feel like, oh gosh, just this one easy thing, please.
Yeah.
You know, that's how I experienced it anyway.
Do you think then, and it's funny what you're saying, like this ease of popping something in your mouth, is that the soul showing us that maybe there's too much efforting in our lives, too much doing, working hard, and perhaps that's like the onset on something new, or at least if you look into it without the judgment of like, oh, what am I doing? I'm doing something wrong, more as a loving way. Do you think you can see that it's maybe the soul? It's like the soul kind of begging for you to realize that you need to do less effort.
I would say so.
People will say you lazy because look, you don't want to go to the gym, blah, 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 blah. A lot of people will conclude that it's more of a lazy way to be rather than, you're efforting too much. You're actually the opposite of lazy. And as you saw saying, stop.
I mean, if anything, like what would going to the gym show you? What would putting down the honey buns? I mean, it would show that you love yourself because you only want the best for yourself. It's got to come from a place of love.
Instead of, I despise myself so much, so I'm going to the gym. Because then
Right.
there's another loop waiting there for you.
Right.
Now you're going to take, this, that, and the other so you can look that way. Now you're going to start throwing yourself at the gym for 3, 4, 5 hours a day and make hard work of that. So
your world is a reflection of you. If you're not loving yourself, it's gonna show some way or another.
Well, it's funny you mentioned that because although we may perceive it as not loving ourselves because I'm stuffing things in my mouth that are easy to eat, I don't have to cook it, I just put it in my mouth and that's it. Although I kind of now, without judgment, seeing as you saw requiring an ease in your life. That's why it does it. That's why you do it. Like, please give me something that's easy. Life is too hard right now. It's too rough. And I can't be bothered to go through the whole thing because we forgot the idea of what Shem was explaining, the experience around the tea, the cookies, the biscuit, and making the whole thing, which is pleasurable in itself. But we're so far from that idea that perhaps in a sense, you're just soothing yourself by putting these easy things. And it does its temporary job until you allow you with the result of that to realize there's something wrong. I think because you mentioned another thing about input and outputs in regards to food and how related is to our energy field. Could you explain what you meant by that?
It's tied to, I mean, everything is data, right? Everything is information. Everything is tied to source. So it's like the difference between eating an apple and eating Pringles, right? Pringles went through a process of having all of these extra things added to it that are toxic and poisonous to our bodies. And yet, you're choosing to eat the Pringles versus something that literally you could have gone in your backyard and picked off the tree. Came from nature. It's natural. If you're inputting something that is not good for you into yourself, you're going to emulate that. It's inputs and outputs, if that makes any sense.
Once again, you've given the metaphysical explanation to something that's quite scientific. So it's lovely. I got it immediately. Yeah, I got it immediately.
Makes a lot of sense. Yeah, I mean, it's a challenge even till today. I mean, there's certain things I ask myself as well. If I should care so much about what I even put in my mouth, is that not me participating? And I know it's very controversial to even say that, even to the point we're trying to make. But I did have to ask myself, am I not manifesting the undesired outcome by me caring too much? And am I reducing myself to a human being that is so affected by its own environment, as opposed to me being in control of my environment in the first place? I do ask myself that question a lot. And where is the fine line between doing something that's highly beneficial for yourself and giving up? Right. Or what could be see as such as giving up, although it might not be. I don't know if you guys are experiencing the same thing. But.
No, I get it. It's a struggle because you don't want to start being a reader label holic, you know.
It's like it's not the same thing. Just putting your intention into it can also mean the difference. It's an input and output thing.
Yeah.
Just going to your thing about the coffee, right? About how you you enjoy coffee to a point where you didn't want to just have a coffee, like you wanted to go all in, make it, I'm sure you've got probably an extensive setup at home based on how you were explaining your relationship with coffee. I can already see.
I can't make him coffee, John. I can't.
Well, that's the thing. You can have the same coffee grounds and you make it in the morning to get him out the door for work or something, right? But then he goes and puts his intention into another. It's two different. It's even though it's the same coffee, it's two different coffees essentially.
Yes. And his part of loving the coffee is making the coffee. He don't want just the coffee. He wants, firstly, he's got his whole ritual. He's got the beans. He takes the beans out of the freezer, which I didn't even know was a thing. Now they're fresh. Okay. It's a whole process. And then he grinds the coffee beans. And every morning, our little one comes and wants to press the button with him. He wants to press the button with the little ones. They do it. They do it together. It's a whole thing. If daddy presses the button and the little one ain't there, it's a whole thing. So that's the part of the process.
It is a part of the process.
And it takes 1 minute to ground these coffee beans. And he must take it out half a minute and shake it, put it back, go again. It's a whole process. And something that I would personally take the best of 5 minutes to do is a 15-minute orchestra with him. But I let him play out because afterwards, he's all good. You know what I mean? And that's his joy. So no matter what the whole collective may believe about coffee or not believe about coffee, I know for him that is a great input in his life. It is a joy for him. It's a whole thing. So who am I to give him any credentials about coffee when that's it's his joy?
Well, and here's the other one too, right? Like, because that applies to him.
Yeah.
Do you guys get your fruits and vegetables from the store, or do you grow your fruits and vegetables?
We've done both.
Yeah.
We've done both.
Do you feel like you'd tell a difference?
Yeah, I can tell the difference. And the only difference, and I'll buy organic if I need to. But now, if it's not available to me, I'll bless the food and I'll be like, oh, this is going to be good. Any little nutrient, I will pick up that sprayed ass banana and be like, oh, this is going to be good. Okay. This is going to be amazing.
You do your best with it and put your own intention into it.
And that's it. But I must admit, there's something special about eating the same thing you seeded.
Yeah.
And it's because it came from your creation and your intention. And that's why that's that sacred energy. That's what we make from our sacral. What we create, our 0 point of creation, is still important to us as beings. And that's when I tell people, are you still creating? It's not, are you musical or are you artistic? It's that coffee, that Cinnabon. You love Cinnabons? How do you go about getting it? Do you get it from the same person? Do you get your local baker to make it? Do you have your plate that you use? Do you sit it down? Do you have a drink with it? Do you have your favorite soda with it? And I had to throw this out a long time ago, but and this is where New Age comes in, one of these New Age, I think his name's Michael Murdad, and he was talking about the fact that even though he's New Age and he lives in Sedona and people expect all this stuff from him, and he's gifted all of this stuff, he says nothing like gives him more pleasure than a Dr. Pepper and a Kit Kat. And while people think that he's going to be vegan and those are the two things he requires in his life, and it gives him joy, and he won't give it up. And it's okay if you don't eat this, that, and the other, but it's how are you eating it? What are you telling yourself when you eat it? What intention are you putting into it?
Yeah.
I think Darius actually kind of touches on it too a little bit, because he always brings up the idea of like, you have two different people who go their whole lives smoking and drinking, but one lives to 95, 100 years old, and the other dies at 45 from a heart attack. What was their intentions when they put it in?
And what was their judgment on themselves?
Yeah, it's my granddad's story, actually.
That's your granddad's story and mine. Your granddad's with the sugar, my one's with the tobacco.
Ate anything he wanted, didn't care, and lived until 96 years old.
Happily. And when he did go, he wasn't sick for however long or whatever. It was a conversation. He was like, oh yeah, that's me.
I think my asthma is self-inflicted. If I'm going to be real with you guys, I have really bad asthma.
Mm-hmm.
But even when I'm not like inhaling stuff or like not in the weeds, there are still times where I'm experiencing it. And I've realized like just the fact of having my inhaler with me all the time and thinking about it all the time makes it's like it activates that energy. I have to figure out how to let go of some of these things.
As I'm having this conversation with you, I'm realizing how much threads of similarities we have, John, because a big part of me having or saying that I had or experiencing a chronic illness for as long as I did when I did was literally, I had to ask myself, how is me having this serving me? That's what I had to ask myself. How is me believing that I need to have this experience serving me? And I realized it was because I felt like if I'm not sick, or if I don't have bouts of times where I cannot get out of my bed, no one will give me time to rest. Everyone will expect me to be go time. So I was in ways hanging on to it. So I had a real reason for people around me to let me rest without being called lazy and give me love and attention without having to ask for it. And it was a very difficult conversation I had to have with myself because I had to be brutally honest, right? That's a big thing to admit to yourself. But then I realized, why don't I believe I'll get it if I'm not in this condition? And I didn't trust myself enough to ask for it. I felt embarrassment to ask him for those things. And I felt like the people around me were going to judge me if I took those times. None of those things were true. And I had to literally put it to the test. Make that trustful with myself and the people around me. And that's how I had to let it go.
We really want you to speak out on these things, really, like for the community, because yes, there's our perspective, but for me, it's extremely important you give yours. Doesn't matter where you're at. It's not a situation where we say something and we said it all. Even if your perspective is different, please do share. I was going to say this, yeah. Now back to what I wanted to say is about the elements, and when you have elements, I had my own as well. I realized a lot of things and where it was coming from. Most of them come from childhood. And I kind of like mentioned once, I don't remember if it was during a live, but before eradicating everything senselessly, by not knowing what you want, how you do it, what it is exactly, to stop letting new things coming in that don't serve you. That's the first challenge that I personally will recommend people to actually more look what's keep on coming in while the doors are open, that keep on, letting things creep into your life first, and close these doors if it's not desired, if it doesn't serve you. So when it comes to ailments, they all contribute to one thing: being constrictive, very constrictive and restrictive, period. Limitation. Asthma. It's like a contraction. It's you're not expanding. There's an energetic relationship between that. For me, I had a lot of tummy issue, IBS, blockage, digestion not going well, can't release, lack of expansion, and you got reflux, so you get that burning, that fire that wants to be liberated, and that has to all see with creations. Hence why creative, you don't have to be a professional with it, but when you're being creative, it does help. It really does help to release that energy. So I realized this to say that a lot of these things we hang on to, it contributes to limit you more and to feel secure in the limitation or in the expansion. It's not to say, and it's not medical advice, but it's not to say you have to dash it out. But it's definitely not the solution as it was the solution. The solution is something that resolves something, not that maintains it. And I think often it's forgotten. If something you keep on taking for the rest of your life, it just maintained what you had. It hasn't resolved it.
Mm-hmm.
That's not what resolve it. Resolving the solution is that, okay, whatever was a problem is not here anymore. So by stepping into this awareness and understanding, and like I say, you don't have to stop what you're doing. You just have to be aware of and see what the result of that are. It's not even about stopping what you're doing or anything like that. And that's why I realized, I said, you know what, let me change my perspective on that. And a part of me having these things with IBS, I always thought that there was something wrong with me. And I was like, why do I think there's always something wrong? And I'm talking about medically speaking. There's, things can't just be perfectly well oiled and the machine can't run on its own. It was a lack of trust that things can be fine no matter what you do. And that came from my foster mother, and I was worrying about everything. All the time worrying, all the time. It's like a lot of worry. So I came from. Then I moved on into a situation where it was like when you go to school, there's these highly preventive ways that's done through multiple things, vaccinations and so on, and all other things. This reaffirmed that you need to be careful, whether you have an insurance, because you remember the school where we were, you need an insurance as well. That says, well, in case of danger, in case of something happening, something bad, and I know it can be controversial because people say, what do you mean? Forget what I'm saying in terms of whether you should or shouldn't. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm not saying you should have an insurance or not. All I'm saying is to understand why you're telling the waters of your body. And Shem did actually some things about the activation of these waters. And you activate these waters every day by the agreement, even just by not being aware or being aware of what you're doing. And you have a choice to activate these waters or not, and how you activate them, what you put in it.
Hi, and now for a very important announcement. We've noticed that half of you are not subscribed, but you are watching. And we know it's not deliberate. I do it all the time. So check if you're subscribed, and if not, press the subscribe button, then the notification bell. And that way, when we go live on Sundays, or we do a Catch Us If You Can, you won't miss it.
If you love to support our channel, you can go on our Ko-Fi where you can buy us a cup of coffee. You also can join our Discord, and you also can become a Sovereign Soul platform member. Thank you, and back to the show.
Well, how do you activate the waters? It's with the spoken word. When you speak the things into existence, it's like someone who's never had a problem medically goes in for a checkup, and all of a sudden they're told, "Oh, your thyroid levels are out of whack. You're going to have to take levothyroxine." And so they've never had any issues. They didn't have any issues coming in. They had no questions about what was going on with their body. Their doctor told them that there was something wrong with their thyroid, and now they're on a medication. They start taking the medication, and they watch their neck blow up because their thyroid now is not working at capacity. Oh, okay, now we've got to change the medication. There's something to the idea of the spoken word. And I love how your guys' daughter was talking about the relation of tonsils and not speaking up. Like the idea of not saying something and the idea of over-saying something literally can mean the difference on some of these things, like how our bodies react with our environment, what our environment might even look like to us, just simply because of words. Yeah.
That's how they got me, John. They got me out here on my thyroid. 20 years old, walked up in there. I think I came in with like a really sore throat and an earache, and I'd put on maybe 2 stone, and I didn't know why. I felt like I had a bit of a flu that wouldn't go, but nothing more than that.
What is stone? I've never understood what that meant because I go by pounds, but you guys' currency goes by pounds. So
28 pounds.
28 pounds. Okay. Wow.
Yeah. Put on 28 pounds. And everyone was like, Shem, who are you? Like, I don't see your neck. I don't recognize you. And it was that. And then I felt really not too well. No one knew what was wrong with me. My mum was a nurse. She was like, you know what I think it might be? I'm going to give you a blood test at home and you just take the results in. And they sat me down at 20 and they were like, you have a thyroid issue. And I was like, what is a thyroid? And then here you go. You have to take this. Okay, so how long do I take this for? Have you got children? And I was like, no. And they were like, you might want to think about having children really soon. When you're on these type of things and these type of things happen to you, fertility is like an issue. And I was like, oh, how long do I have to take this for? For the rest of your life.
If we were meant to take these things, why would we have so many complications long term while taking them after the fact? You know?
Fast forward to 2022, been taking this thyroxine now for, I don't know, 15 odd years. And then I was just like, okay, well, you know, I have to go take my blood tests regularly because you need to check to see if you need more, isn't it? Do you need more or do you need less? What are your levels? And all of a sudden, my levels are to the point where the doctor calls me and is like, you should be dead. What's going on? And I'm like, why? Oh, because your levels are way out of whack. Oh, are they? So I do some investigation. I was like, nothing feels different. Like I'm not getting any, I feel a little bit tired, but I'm okay. No, you should be dead right now. What do you eat? Okay, here we go. I homestead, like I'm just eating the vegetables from my garden. Well, that's why you're alive. That's it. It's the vegetables are keeping you alive right now. The mere fact that you're eating all natural, that's what's keeping you alive right now. Oh, so what do? You're gonna have to double your intake. I was like, okay. So I doubled my intake. Just like that, just overnight. Double my intake, moved to England, whole lot of other shit happens, and I take another test. When I take the test, doctor again, I'm calling you because your vitals are fatal and I don't know how you're living, but same spiel again. What do I have to do? Oh, we have to adjust again. I said, Shem, look, you can't do this. Where are we going? How much micrograms are you going to take of this thing? How many times are they going to pull you in and give you the end of life thing going on? Like, you should be dead conversation. Like, why are you giving me this when I'm looking at my 2-year-old? Like, why are we doing this? This is not what I want to live like. I look into it and I find out that the company who I was taking that from is in court. Why are they in court? Because they changed the formula and didn't tell anybody. And there's a class action case about all these people who were on this same as I was, and they're taking class action against them because they changed the formula on people and it messed up with all of their results. And therein I said, okay, I'm checking out. They don't know what they're talking about and I'm checking out. And that's when I decided this has to be a me thing.
Medicine?
I had to, John. And I said, come what may, because I can't live like that. So if I don't live, I'm sorry, Amondi, you got hella kids with me. But this is not me being free. I'm not, that comes back to the quality again. This is not what I'm calling quality for me. And I'm not getting the whole quality of what it is to mean to be healthy. And I won't be what people consider young forever, though. That's another bullshit that I'm not paying into, but that's another thing. But are you going to take the whole of my youth up with this game where you call me in, tell me I should be dead and then double my things? And I had to have several hard conversations with myself, John. Several. Why did I take it in the first place? Why did I feel like I needed to? Why do I keep on coming back to people who are rogue?
When you never knew or felt like you needed these things in the first place.
If I was out and about living my life, I would never have known. I would have had, yeah. When did you ever really get that swollen neck? When you were taking their shit? Did they find anything? No. They tried to tell me, if you see it, if we catch a little bit of cancer in there, you got to cut that out. They didn't find anything. They asked me if it was genetic. How do I know? Has your mom got it? No, she hasn't. Has your auntie got it? Maybe it's genetic. All of these things and all of these answers came over the years and the years and the years and the years. And I was like, you fucking got me. But guess what? I ultimately decide. I had to pull away and I had to ask myself the hard questions and I had to leave it. I had to remove myself from it.
Yeah, and the truth is it's been now a couple of years.
You haven't died yet.
I haven't died yet. And my life has been popping. And guess what? Had a baby. Oh, where's the fertility? Breastfed for the first time without crazy lactation situations for the longest time I ever have. How? How is all these happenings, these great happenings happening to a body that was so...
Oh, you're fatal.
Right. Not
So
medical advice.
Beside this guy, is a breatharian, so he doesn't eat. And he was actually questioned. And they say, yeah, but some people die trying to do what you do, da 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 da. He said, yeah, but I'm not high here telling people to stop eating food because that energy has to be replaced.
Mm-hmm.
But it was actually letting people know that it's a state of being, and you need you state of being right now. It's needed food as your energy. So of course, if you cut out that food, that's going to cause you a problem. That's what he was explaining.
Back to your input.
So back to your input and output, like Shem just said, exactly that. And so when it comes on to these things, people have to understand that it's more shining a light on our ability rather to ask yourself, should I take it or not? Some people take these medicine and it doesn't affect them, and they take it until they live long. I mean, my granddad used to take this medicine, but he also used to eat everything he wanted, which was counterintuitive to the actual medicine he was taking, period. So by any of this standard, he wouldn't have lived that long, period. Now, it is more to see about, like you saying, the input, and more are you telling yourself what Shem's saying? Because hence why some people take the same medicine. It works for a person and it doesn't work for the other one, because fundamentally they're not telling themselves the same thing.
What we're willing to allow in our field.
Yeah, that's more what we allow in our field.
I was in middle school, and when they gave me the medication, I kind of already felt like this was just it's weird that I have to go in. Like, I was also going in for like allergy shots. Like, I would go in maybe like once a year, and they'd stick me with all these needles trying to get my body to react to all the things. And then once it had a reaction, oh, that means you're allergic to that thing. You know what I mean?
Wow.
And I was going through all of that with the asthma and allergy stuff. And then all of a sudden I was told, hey, your neck's, it's growing to, the size of a melon. What's going on here? And, really, I know now personally that it had a lot to do with not speaking up and not saying anything. But at the time, I didn't understand that. I just knew that I started on this medication and it made me feel worse than I already was. I didn't feel bad or anything before I started taking it. So it got to a point where I would put it in my tongue, and then I would spit it out in the toilet. And then we went in to go check my levels, and they're like, oh, I guess you don't need the medication anymore.
Oh, well.
I was never taking it.
What would you say is the single most biggest thing that you've been able to do for yourself where you've been like, okay, that's not for me. I'm going to walk away from it lovingly. What's that thing that calls to you inside that says, yeah, this isn't for me, and this is what I'm going to do about it?
I recently watched a video about this, and I'll share it with you guys at some point here. But I've always had this thing with authority, and I've always felt this need to feel guilty for always questioning and always going against, just trying to test the waters all the time. But I've realized that it's a quality of somebody who's very in touch with their understandings and their knowings of themselves. And being told what to do and asking, well, why do you think that needs to be done that way? Like, you shouldn't have to feel ashamed or guilty for digging into those things. That's been the biggest thing for me, is being in touch with that, the freedom to ask and to choose for myself.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can see why.
It's your sovereignty.
Yeah. It's got nothing to do with not wanting to take advice, because I can take advice. If someone has something practical for me that applies to what I'm doing, like I'll take that in a heartbeat. It's the idea of somebody else having to exact control and asking why. Why? What is your reason for that?
I get it.
Same here. The second I find out I can't ask you a question, we got a problem.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
you're above reproach, but you want to have rule over me, we got a problem.
When I turned 18, I went down that road and I haven't looked back. And I'm so happy that I did. I would not be the same person. I wouldn't be my own person.
Yeah.
Yeah. And when you come along and you chat with us on Sundays and you drop in and you've got your questions, trust me when I say your questions, it's like that one guy who puts his hand up in class and asks a question everyone else is too scared to ask. I love that guy. I've been that guy. Like,
People who aren't awake don't like that guy. They don't like it. Why does he got to question what everybody else is doing? We're all doing it. Why can't he do it?
is that he can do it. He just wants to know why we all doing it.
Right. I want to know why.
Yeah.
Don't change that, because that's part of your discernment mechanism. That's how you find out, is John about that or is he not about that? And and who is anybody to come and ask if they will try to bend your will to what they want and expect not to be questioned in any way?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. It's not about denying somebody, because if you have a good explanation for, hey, I'm trying to help you and this is why, I can take on that and try to understand and maybe try to utilize that in some way. But if you have no explanation for why it is that you're telling me to do something a certain way, and you're getting angry because I'm asking, it just shows what was the intention behind, like, you know what I'm saying?
For me, I've always seen it as like the mask slipped.
Yeah, it is that.
It's the slip of the mask. Because if ever I've whenever I've wanted to help anybody and it's really been like, I genuinely want to help you. The second I find myself getting angry, I've realized, do you really want to help this person? You just want to make them do what you think is best for them. And once you get into the territory of, I want to make them do what I think is best for them, it's no longer help. And that's the shut the fuck up and exit left.
And doing that with my own kids, and I'm trying so hard to overcome that cyclical, like, you have to sit still. You can't be making so much noise all the time. Like, why can't we just relax? Like, why do you got to bounce off the walls? And I've got to let go of that shit because there's a reason that they're doing all these things.
Plus, it doesn't serve you to keep on circulating with your helicopter. I take it like, just post up. Post up. I'm too busy making sure my tea is hot now. I'm too busy doodling. I'm too busy. I'll get myself busy.
Yeah.
Get myself busy is what I do in those moments. And it's not from a place, it's never from a place of bad or good. And this is why these things can't be judged as such. But doesn't mean it's helpful to you or to anybody. But you do your best. You don't beat yourself up because you did it, and you move the fuck on. And next day,
would you agree? Would you agree that our kids can, like, they tend to be almost an exact reflection of what we're going through?
Yeah.
I'd say that they are receptors, and they pick up the energies, and they'll definitely mirror that back to you. Because the second I decide to anchor myself, especially if I have one of those days where I'm like, my energy is a bit off, I'll see it play out. But the second I anchor myself and sit still, I see everyone settle, and I'm like, here we go. But these are part of the divine partnerships we go through, where they come and they mirror us to show us, to show us where we can ease up on ourselves, love a little bit harder on ourselves, just be a little bit more gentler in places, stand up for ourselves in places, different things. I take it more like that. So it's funny you say that. So up to now, with your knowing where your journey is right now, for you, who are we and why did we come here?
It's like a cliche, right? To say, like, we came here to learn. When I think back to the experience that I had as a kid, remembering the void and remembering what it felt like to experience myself for the first time, we're all God. We all have a role to play. We're all divine energy from source. How do you appreciate that when that's all you know? You have to come to a place where you're humbled, where you get to experience that which you're not. And that's such a hard concept for people to understand, that we're God, and yet we came here to be stripped of that so that we can have a better appreciation when we get back into it.
Thank you, John.
Yeah, that is a beautiful explanation.
Where can people find you if they want to reach out to you or see what it is that you're creating right now?
So I'm on Telegram, on YouTube, and I'm on Discord as just another avatar. I don't know if they're all spelled the same way or not. I'll have to send that out to you guys if you want to share that or not. But
yep,
I'm
it'll be in the description.
I'm under the name Just Another Avatar. And I might have my birthday at the end of it or not.
Okay, John. It's been wonderful conversation, as always. And thank you. Thank you for sharing.
Thank you for
John.
the platform. It's been amazing to be a part of it's not just a community, it's a growing community. you guys are always adding. There's always new people. I love seeing Blessed and how involved he is. And I just love that it's not just our community. Like, we're in the pockets of all these other communities too. I think about like Corey and Andre and the Darius crew and Caesar. Like, it's not just this community. It's the great work, and I'm so excited to be a part of it.
That's lovely.
Thank you.
Thank
you,
you.
John.
And for everyone else, ciao for now.
Ciao for now.